There are honestly far too many series that I'm interested in reading in 2024. However, these are the ones I'm planning on prioritizing the most. Hey guys, hope you're doing well today. Just wanted to talk to you guys today about the series that I'm hoping to prioritize reading in 2024. Now, there are a lot of series, like I said, that I'm interested in reading, and I will say in this video I'm focusing more on like the longer series. I plan on fitting in like quite a few duologies or trilogies into my reading just throughout the year. Whether or not I finish those or just start them is, neither here nor there, but these are the longer series that I hope to either start, finish, or continue in 2024. Let me know in the comments what series you guys are hoping to tackle in 2024, and if you're interested in possibly buddy reading or doing like a read along on the channel for any of these series, would love to hear from you. So yeah, let me know. Let's go ahead and jump in though. We're gonna start with the two series that I don't actually own any physical copies for the series. I do have these on audio and some on ebook as well. So yeah, primarily for 2024, I am going to be focusing on my physical TBR, but these are two series that I really do want to get into in the next year. So the first of those is The Expanse by James S.A. Corey. So this is a series that I've wanted to read for some time, like years. And it's a completed series and not a short one either. There are 9 books, and that's excluding like the novellas or short story collections. I'm not sure what the in-between ones are, but there are 9 main novels in the series, and it's completed relatively recently. I think in 2022 or maybe 2021 this series did wrap up, and it's been on my radar for a long time. Mike over at Mike's Book Reviews though has been reading those this year and has been loving them, and that has really piqued my interest again in getting into this series. So I have tried to read the first book before, but I just wasn't in the right headspace to get into it. So for 2024, I definitely want to read The Expanse. Whether or not I'll read all 9 books, I'm not sure, maybe, but I definitely at least want to get a few books into this series. And I think I'm going to really enjoy it. I've been wanting to get into more like space opera or sci-fi books. There is at least one more of those types of book series in my list for today. But yeah, The Expanse is one I've heard really great things about. There's a TV show on Amazon Prime as well that I've heard is good also. So very excited about reading these books and at least reading the first few of them this year. And the other series that I don't have any physical copies for is called The Bound and the Broken, and this is a self-published series by Ryan Cahill. Mike from Mike's Books Reviews has been hyping this series up so much, and I guess I've just been watching a lot of his videos lately and have been really influenced by his excitement and enthusiasm for this series because I really want to get to this. I now have all of these on audio from Audible because they had like a really big sale going on last month, and so I picked up all of these for really cheap, and I'm very excited to get to them. I've heard it's kind of, at least at the very beginning, it starts out kind of as like Aragon, but like for adults, and I've been actually rereading the Aragon series this year and really enjoying myself with it, and I would love to read a Dragon Rider series that is a little bit more adult and complex, and so this seems right up my alley. I think I'm gonna really love this series. I've heard that the first book is not as good as the second and third and the novellas that are written in between, so I'm going to really commit to the process with this. I may not love the first book, I might, but I will definitely be reading at the very least the first 2 books in the series in 2024. So very excited about this one. I love reading and supporting self-published works, and so this is one I'm really looking forward to. Now let's jump into the books that I do have physical copies of, at least a few of those. The first up is a continuation, actually. So that is the Sun Eater series by Christopher Rocchio. I read Empire of Silence at the very end of 2021, and I very much enjoyed it. It actually made my best of the year list. But now it's been like 2.5 years or so since I read this book, and I hardly remember it. And there's so much hype for this series on BookTube right now. I feel like it's weird because it's still considered like underhyped because I feel like there aren't a ton of people talking about it outside of BookTube, and on Goodreads it doesn't have like a ton of ratings or reviews, but I feel like I see Empire of Silence and the Sun Eater series all over the place. And so I want to reread Empire of Silence and continue on with Howling Dark in 2024. And I'll probably try to actually catch up on the whole series because I know that either the last book or the second to last book is coming out. I think it's the second to last book is coming out in like April. So yeah, would love to get caught up on the series. It is a space opera story about a man who basically is responsible for this huge massacre of this planet. And it's him telling his story about how he got to that point, to this infamous reputation that he now has in the present. So very excited about getting back into these again. Empire of Silence was amazing and I really did enjoy it, but I need to refresh myself on it. So I'll be rereading this and then continuing on with the series in 2024. Another series I plan on continuing, but that is a little bit different, is Discworld by Terry Pratchett. So the reason I say it's a little bit different, and I do sort of plan on continuing, is because in 2023, I read one book in the Discworld series, and that was Mort, which is the beginning of the death books of Discworld, but is technically the fourth book written in the Discworld series. So this is a very interesting and massive series. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of Discworld books. And essentially, there is the overall series that starts with the book The Color of Magic, but you can start from numerous points, and a lot of people actually recommend not starting with the first book, The Color of Magic, and starting from a few different points instead. So I did read Mort in 2023, and I really did enjoy it, but I'm interested to just see what else is out there for Discworld. So my plan is to read this one next, Equal Rights. Very excited about reading this, hopefully pretty soon actually. I may end up even squeezing it in December, who knows. But I want to just explore Discworld a little bit. It's very exciting, it's absurd, it's out there, it's creative, it's unexpected, and it feels like the light and fun kind of series that I want to be prioritizing in 2024. And yeah, I'm excited to continue on with Equal Rights. If you've read Discworld, let me know what your favorite like sub-series is and where you think I should go next after reading this one. I'm thinking maybe Guards. I don't know, or maybe I'll continue on with the Death series or read the next one in this one. I'm open to anything, really, so let me know what you think. Another series I plan on continuing, but this one is definitely more linear, is The Wheel of Time. I'm going to be reading book 3, The Dragon Reborn, pretty soon here. I read books 1 and 2 a few months ago, and I really did enjoy myself with them. These are definitely books that I feel I need to carve out a pretty significant chunk of time to read, though, and so with a few other books in the series I wanted to get to in 2023, I did end up putting this on the back burner for the last few months, but I do want to make really great progress in the series in 2024. I don't know if I'll try to finish it. I don't think so, because I think there are 14 books and I'm only on book 3, and these are very long, and I have to get through the infamous slog of like the book 7, 8, 9 range of The Wheel of Time, but I'm very excited to continue on, and I have enjoyed myself quite a bit with books 1 and 2, those being The Eye of the World and The Great Hunt. So very excited to read The Dragon Reborn and continue on with the series, at least for a few books. The next 2 series I want to talk to you about are some longer mystery series that I'm very excited to get into. The first of those is the Cork OConnor books, I believe. Yeah, Cork OConnor, he's a detective, and it's set in Minnesota, I want to say. I honestly have no idea. I think it's set in Minnesota. It might be in Montana. It's one of those M states. That's all I know. And I really love this author's books, William Kent Kruger. I've now read 2 of his novels, and I gave them both 5 stars, and I'm very excited to get into his longer detective series. I want to say there's like 19 books in this so far, and it's ongoing. So this is the first book that he wrote for the series. I think it was his first published book as well, Iron Lake. So very excited to get into this. I love detective stories. Like, I read a lot of fantasy and sci-fi and literary fiction, but a good detective story I just adore, especially ones where it's like a longer series and you really get attached to your protagonist and the surrounding characters. This is just going to be amazing. I already know it, so I may like end up binging this series. Who knows? I really, like I said, love William Kent Kruger's writing, and yeah, I'm so hyped for this. Another author whose books I absolutely adore and has a detective series that I really want to get into is Dennis Lehane with his Kenzie and Gennaro series, the first book being A Drink Before the War. Both this and Iron Lake actually were in my 24 books to read in 2024, but I do plan on reading this entire series. There are only 6 books. I say only, that's a pretty long series, but they're not very long, and again, these are like detective stories, so I really love Dennis Lehane's books. I've given 3 of his books 5 stars, and I've read 4, so I'm very excited to read this series. I really trust this author a lot, so I'm in it for the long haul. Even if some of the books don't quite meet the mark, I'm open to that too. I'm excited just to give this a go, and I've heard really good things. Josh from Red Fury Books really enjoys this series, and I trust his opinion a lot, so very excited about getting into these books. And I'm actually starting this one in January, so it'll be soon. Back to fantasy, though, I do plan on continuing, and finally this year, I swear it has to be in 2024, I'm going to finish the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. Stephen King is one of my favorite authors. He's my most read author, and I've been working slowly but surely on the Dark Tower series for literally years. And in 2023, I made some good progress. I read The Wastelands, and I read this one, Wizard and Glass, and I think I read one or two other books that are kind of in the broader Dark Tower universe. So I have made progress. I was going to prioritize finishing this series in 2023, but I wasn't as crazy about Wizard and Glass as I wanted to be. I liked it, but I didn't love it. It's like a 3.5, 4 star for me. And so I decided to put it down for a little bit, but I will absolutely be finishing it in 2024. Mark my word. If I have not finished the Dark Tower series by the end of 2024, bad things gonna happen. The last two book series are book series that are probably, if not the, then some of, for sure, the most talked about fantasy series on BookTube and in the bookish community. Those are, first, A Game of Thrones, and second, the Stormlight Archive. Now, I have read some of these. For A Game of Thrones, I have read the first book of the Song of Ice and Fire series, this one, and I gave it 5 stars, but I read this back in 2016, I think, so it's been a long time, like 7 years. And I've, of course, watched the show and loved the show, but I really want to read these books, and I miss Game of Thrones, and I don't really feel like rewatching the show, and I want to get the full experience of what the books have in store, because I know there are big differences, especially like in the later books to the show. So yeah, I really want to get back into these, and I think I'm just going to really enjoy my time with them. There will be pain, there will be suffering, but there will be fun as well. So definitely very excited about rereading this book and then getting into the next 4 books after that. And then we have, lastly, the Stormlight Archive. So I have read books 1, 2, and 3, and there are only 4 full books out. But here's my experience with Stormlight Archive. So I binge read The Way of Kings and Words of Radiance in, I want to say, like 2018 or so, and I was obsessed. They were amazing, like some of the best books I'd ever read, easily like the top fantasy series for me at that time. I loved it so much. But then I waited like 2 years, maybe even 3 years, to read Oathbringer, the 3rd book in the series. And I did not reread books 1 and 2. I did watch like some recap videos, but I just jumped into book 3 without having a full, comprehensive re-understanding of the series, and it definitely impacted my enjoyment. For the 3rd book, I did still give it like 4.5 stars, but I think I would have enjoyed it more and felt a lot more invested if I had reread or had freshly read the first 2 books. And so for me to go into Rhythm of War, I've kind of put that off again for another 2 or 3 years because I wanted to have the best experience possible with these books. And now the 5th and final book in the first arc of the Stormlight Archive series is set to come out in November, and I absolutely want to read that as soon as it comes out. But I obviously need to read Rhythm of War, and I also want to be set up for success to fully enjoy the series to its maximum potential. So I'm going to be rereading this series. These are long, like so freaking long, but I'm going to enjoy that. I'm going to make this my big reread of 2024, and I think that that's going to be like, honestly, like a nice stress relief. I love having a reread in rotation that just helps me to not have to focus so intensely hard, that is familiar, that feels like coming home, and so I think that's going to be this for me. In fact, the last week and a half to 2 weeks of 2023, while I'm solidifying my best of the year lists, I'm just going to really focus on rereading The Way of Kings. So hopefully I can finish that up the very beginning of 2024 and be set to go into Words of Radiance as soon as I'm prepared to jump back into that. So yeah, very excited to prepare myself for the final book of this first arc of the Stormlight Archive, and I want to love this series again as much as I did at the beginning. But that's it. Those are all of the series that I plan on prioritizing in 2024. Like I said, there are a lot of shorter series like duologies and trilogies I'm very interested in reading, but these are kind of longer ones that I really want to focus on. And in addition to that, there are other series that I plan on either continuing or starting, but I only really want to read the first book or one book in those. This is a great example. This is the 2nd book in the Pillars of the Earth series, or the King's Bridge series by Ken Follett. I want to read the 2nd book. I don't plan on making myself read the 3rd, 4th, or 5th book in 2024. I just want to read one. So yeah, that is essentially my plan for reading series in 2024. I am a bit of a mood reader, and I'm going to make room for that as well. And I'm not going to hold myself accountable to reading all of these either. If I just start reading it and I'm not enjoying it, I'm going to drop it. but there are some of these that I absolutely want to prioritize, and I'm really excited about all of them, at least right now. So let me know in the comments what series you're hoping to get to in 2024. I have some great ones on my list. Let me know if any of these are some of your favorite series, or if you want me to cover them on the channel, either in reviews, spoiler or non-spoiler, or what have you. Just tell me what you want, and I will try to accommodate. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.